This is for entertainment purposes only.
Why are these rich people building bunkers? Should we start to build bunkers too? Don't fall for the distractions. They are building bunkers because they are not allowed on this planet no more. Remember when everyone was afraid and they was waiting for a blackout? That blackout message wasn't for us. It was for them.
Is the end, first of all?
I don't know.
It would be Antarctica, the Arctic Circle.
That's the end.
That's the shoreline.
But wouldn't there be like a wall or something?
Well, the highest shoreline on Earth is the ice wall, Antarctica. So the water would be this table, and then this would be the end.
Okay.
And then
Thanks for tuning into another episode of Quik Reaction TV. The coolest vibe on YouTube. If you're new to the Quik fam, please like, subscribe, and rock the bell for new releases. I got a good selection for you today. Let's get right to it. Quik.
Would y'all believe me if I told y'all that the technology that we're using is the technology of the old world? We all heard about nothing new under the sun, right? It's even in scripture, Ecclesiastes 1:9. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing new under the sun. This is an Aztec hieroglyph of somebody on a computer. There's nothing new under the sun. That's a helicopter. That's a tank. That look like some kind of UFO. Another Aztec glyph. Don't these look like missiles and they loading them up into some kind of UFO or flying craft? Oh, bicycles and motorbikes. That's not new either. Ancient light bulbs. This is an ancient phone with Sumerian text on the numbers. And I literally can go hours and hours on showing y'all there's nothing new under the sun. All this technology that we're using is technology of the old world. Everybody talking about this reset, but not knowing this ain't the first one. This technology gets recycled because it goes in a cycle. I'm just saying, if you don't know, now you know. Y'all let me know what y'all think about there being nothing new under the sun and all this technology being old in the comments. Like or follow for more wisdom and stay tuned. Follow me on YouTube if you want that exclusive content. Hit that Gmail if y'all trying to do business.
Damn!
But they opened up a grave in South America. The grave was probably made about 1,000 years ago, and found this little gold artifact in there. You can see it next to the dime for scale. Looks like an airplane about this big. The Smithsonian has it, and they have it labeled as a stylized insect. Because they got this preconceived idea, ancient man was dumb, modern man is smart, they could not possibly have known about airplanes 1,000 years ago. And yet, here they've got one. That's not a stylized insect. I'm sorry, they knew about flight. An Egyptian tomb was opened that's 2,100 years old, and it also had an airplane in it, a little model glider. How did they know about airplanes over 2,000 years ago? Apparently, they knew about electricity a long time ago because this battery was found in Iraq from about 2,000 years ago. The Egyptians must have known about electricity. This hieroglyphic shows what appears to be wires and a generator or something hooked up to these two snakes. Either the snakes are producing the electricity or they're putting electricity into the snakes. I don't know, but they must have known about electricity a long time ago. They found a sunken ship in the Aegean Sea, which is near Greece in the Mediterranean. And there was encrusted on there what appeared to be an analog computing device. This is 2,100 years ago. This hammer was found in rock supposed to be 400 million years old by a lady in Texas. Battelle Laboratory said it's 96.6% iron, 2.6% chlorine, 0.74% sulfur. No carbon. And yet it is stainless steel. It won't rust. Before the flood came, the Bible says the people lived to be over 900 years old. You could learn a lot in 900 years. Plus, when you consider a couple other factors, they lived in a perfect environment. They would have had much higher IQs, much less to do as far as just daily things you have to do just to live. Most of those things are taken care of in the Garden of Eden. Don't need a house. You got perfect weather. So they can devote all their time to study or learning things. Plus, Adam came pre-programmed from the hand of God, probably had an incredibly high IQ. And he got to walk and talk with God for a while till he sinned, maybe 100 years, we don't know. But got to walk and talk with God. The other factor to consider is Adam lived long enough to know his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. Noah's daddy could have known Adam for 56 years. So you get not only a much higher starting point, they already knew a lot because God pre-programmed it into Adam. Plus, they lived a long time and could learn a lot more. Plus, they lived long enough to pass this on to many generations. Today, an awful lot of knowledge goes to the grave. About the time you know it all, you die. Or by the time you know a bunch of stuff, you die. Imagine if guys like Einstein could live, 800 or 900 years. How much knowledge could they accumulate in a brain like that?
That boy is good.
Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
The Sumerians, the Phoenician Canaanites, the Egyptians, especially the Sumerians, all the ancient peoples of the world talked about the reptile aliens. Well, after the program, I got a phone call from a guy who's, later on I found out, is an extremely wealthy businessman in Las Vegas. He buys and sells hotels and commercial properties in Vegas, and he was the biggest there. And he said, I'm a Christian, and I have 5 men who work for me in my office, and they're Christians, and they all belong to the same church. We all go to the same church, and all 6 of us are in the office, and we were hearing you today. And he said, when you mentioned reptile aliens, I had to call you and tell you. Every year, we go somewhere in the world on vacation, and my company pays for everything. And he said, so I take, and all 6 families go together on a vacation somewhere. And he says, and last year, now this was like in '88, so he's talking about '87. And he said, last year we decided to go camping for a couple of weeks in Colorado. And he says, we were up in the mountains and we broke camp one morning, and we walked up to the top of this mountain. We were almost there anyway at camp, and then the next morning when we broke camp, we walked up to the top of the mountain to look over the lay of the land. And he says that out in the valley, we could see that there had been an area that had been cleared away. It was like a round area that had been cleared away. And there was a circle of people out there, and they were all wearing robes, and they were all holding hands and swaying back and forth, singing or chanting. You could barely hear them. But he said, but it was very quiet where we were. We could see that there was some kind of a ritual dancing or swaying back and forth in a circle. They were all holding hands. And there was obviously somebody in the middle, like a priest or something in the middle. And he said, this is out in the middle of nowhere, that these people are out here with this thing that they're doing. And he said, we're up here in the mountains looking down on them. And he said, while we were standing there looking at them, all of a sudden, a second figure popped up out of nowhere. But it was bigger than the man that was in the middle. It's in the middle too, but it's much bigger. And it pointed up at us. And he said, and all the singing stopped, everybody stopped and pointed. And he said, we knew we'd been had. And he said, we didn't know what was going on, but whatever it was, it just popped in out of nowhere, pointed up at us, and everybody is now pointing at us. And he said, so we figured we better just get out of here. He said, when we turned around, it was standing behind us. That thing which was down there was already behind us. That's how quick it moved. He said, when we turned around to run, there was a reptile alien standing behind us. He said this thing was at least 7 to 7.5 foot, to maybe 8 foot tall, had a reptile man's head, but it was a reptile head. It was very muscular, looked like a human body on the ordinary of a human body, but a reptile body, extremely muscular. And he said, and it was looking at us, and he said, it cast some kind of a spell on us so that the children and the women, no one could move. We were like frozen. And he said, and even nobody could say anything, nobody could cry, nobody could run, nobody could do anything. And he said, we were staring at it, and it was looking at us, but it had control over us. It had locked us so that we couldn't move, we couldn't scream, we couldn't do anything. And he said, and this thing was gazing at all of us, looking at the children, looking at the women. He said, this reptile alien, and he says, we're just Christians in a church. But we saw a reptile alien. This thing was not of this world. And he said this thing was looking at all of us, and then he said it looked at the men, and the look he gave us, we understood. He didn't say anything, but we knew. He was saying, I'm going to leave you alone. But when I leave here, you better get out of here. And he said, the alien walked over like he was leaving, is gone. Just like they was gone. And he said, when he was gone, the moment he was gone, everyone came back to life. And the babies were screaming, the women were yelling, screaming. Everybody came back to life, instantly. And he says, we ran like we were totally out of our minds, running back to the cars. We ran down the hill, got in the cars, and the women were screaming, the children were yelling, and he says, and we drove back, and he said it was the most incredible, horrible experience. And he says, all the guys in my office will tell you, we saw a reptile alien in Colorado. So when you're talking about, he says, so when you're talking about reptile aliens in the ancient world, I got news for you. There's one we know for sure in Colorado. We saw him.
Oh my God!
Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
And there has been a lot of interest to stop us from using it, especially those of the sons of God and their offspring. Why? Because mankind and human was taught by mankind that if ever the sons of God would awaken to the power of using the upper brain power, they would become so devastating, so frighteningly auspicious, that everything on earth would tremble at the power of this latent god and giant now asleep. That's why they've never told you the proper use of the brain, and they will tell you again also that the pineal gland is an atrophied, non-usable tissue and organ that used to function but now has no bearing. That's another one of the biggest lies ever told. The pineal gland generates melanin and melatonin. It works best between the hours of 11 at night and 2 in the morning, when most of you should be asleep or in total darkness. It does not like light during the time it is regenerating. And that is also when most of the sons of God will find that 3 days out of the month, or either in the evening or daytime, you have to find out whether you are a solar being or a moon frequency being. I state through meditation, I state through honoring the pineal gland by sleeping during those hours. You don't even have to sleep much past that if you can get good sleep during that time. It will increase the degree and vibration of the melatonin that you have in your body, increase your psychic power, so-called, your sense of ESP, and your health will increase.
It's facts. It's not facts. These facts is not facts.
Why are these rich people building bunkers? Should we start to build bunkers too? Don't fall for the distractions. They are building bunkers because they are not allowed on this planet no more. Remember when everyone was afraid and they was waiting for a blackout? That blackout message wasn't for us, it was for them. The reason why they are building bunkers because they are being judged for everything they did to us. Those underground bunkers is nothing but Plato's cave. Plato Cave is the real matrix. These people are going back into darkness. They are not allowed to walk in the light with us. While the whole world was distracted by this guy, we forgot that everything is about to go in reverse. For all the people that felt like they was losing all their life, we're about to be winners because these people are high. Don't forget that this planet is just a stage. Anyone who get light in the matrix, they are actually false prophets. This is a false prophet. The world is changing for the better, and everyone that's woke, we about to feel this. But everyone that was asleep, following the BS, the joke's on you. The people that control this matrix, they change time and they change calendars so we wouldn't understand the true ages or the cycles of the universe. Remember, the people that control this matrix, they use the media platforms to distract us, but at the same time they send messages to the other people that control this matrix. Their bunkers represents them going back into darkness. Please do not follow the rabbit hole. The rabbit hole was a trick. I hate when woke people say going down the rabbit hole is the dead end. These people are going back into the cave or Plato's cave or the bunker because the sun is actually heating up. The sun is charging the planet. There will be nothing but higher frequencies and spiritual woke people on this planet. That's why for years people have been telling people, wake up, Get the knowledge, get the wisdom, because you might not be allowed on this planet no more. Everything that's happening right now with us being distracted is the number ritual to the moon. This was a New Year distraction, and so many people fell for it. Remember, they tell jokes for a living. They was laughing at us because we don't understand numerology or the certain wisdom or symbols that they use. The joke was not on us because they're going to lose in the end. Check out my ebook so you can understand how the cycles of the matrix really work. This planet is really talking to us. That's why these clear quartz is breaking out through the planet. Clear quartz because everything is so clear to see now. There is no blackout, no doomsday, and no nuclear weapon. These people are afraid of the sun because the sun is about to judge them for everything they did to us. Remember, everything is in reverse. The people that control this world are losing their power. It's coming back to us.
Whoa, calm down, Jamal. Don't pull out the 9.
Couldn't tell you that. To your proof questions, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time left. Sorry, let me give you the 5 bullet points that I gave a Georgetown physicist, and he folded like a card table almost immediately. I put this challenge out to Brian Cox, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Michio Kaku, any of these guys. First one would be long-distance photography. Curvature of the Earth is 8 inches per mile squared. We eventually should not be able to see over the hill. We should be a hill. It should be gone. HD technology has changed that. Now we can see things way, way further. There's some wonderful work being done by Nathan Oakley and some UK teams where they're actually seeing a horizon behind oil platforms at 10, 15, 20 miles. Gravity versus the vacuum of space. Gravity's holding things down, right? That's gravity. No problem, right? You make the upper part of this a vacuum chamber, you pull a cork, everything's going to rush upstairs. Well, why, when you go outside, why isn't the air outside rushing into space? You can't, the atmosphere. Why doesn't it go into space? Can't say gravity anymore because gravity didn't hold the air in this room for that little test. Third, the moon eclipse is too small. The moon eclipse is 70 miles wide, and the moon is 2,000 miles wide. We never see that in nature. The moon eclipse we say the moon is about 70 miles wide. Fourth would be the moon temperature. That's a spooky one. I didn't even know that till about two years in, which is the moon generates a cold light, which is warmer in the moon shade than it is in the moonlight. If you magnify moonlight, it gets even colder. It's generating a cold laser light. It doesn't even make sense. And the last question, which is the Van Allen radiation trap question, which is, are the Van Allen radiation belts deadly? Yes or no? If they are deadly, then how the Americans get past it with no shielding whatsoever? Remember, the only thing that can stop radiation is gold, lead, and a whole bunch of water. They went with aluminum and plastic. Nobody died. Nobody got radiation poisoning. Nobody even got cancer. There's still 5 of them walking around today. If you say yes, then why does NASA have this wonderful video, Ryan Trial by Fire, saying, oh, yeah, we can't send any capsules into space because we haven't solved the radiation problem yet?
Well, maybe that's because you've got to go closer when you go to Mars and it takes longer and there's more exposure, perhaps? I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, well. Maybe, he says.
Okay.
I understand, though, you believe in flat Earth, right?
Yes.
So wouldn't people just fall off the end?
Well, like, what is the end, first of all?
I don't know.
It would be Antarctica, the Arctic Circle.
That's the end.
That's the shoreline.
But wouldn't there be like a wall or something?
Well, the highest shoreline on Earth is the ice wall, Antarctica. So the water would be this table, and then this would be the end.
Okay.
And then you'd say, well, what's that way? Like, where's the edge? The only treaty never broken by 57 nations is the Antarctic Treaty. You are not allowed to explore there. But the first person to explore Antarctica, Admiral Byrd, he said that there is more land it's not snow, it's better resources and minerals, the size of North America. And as he's talking, behind him, there's footage on YouTube, Admiral Byrd. As he's talking in front of a flat Earth azimuthal equidistant map, the map that airplane pilots use for autopilot. They don't use your dumbass Mercator or your fucking globe or none of that. They use our map. And think about it. This map distorts continents. Why would an autopilot system ever risk crashing a plane with a map that just makes North America a little smaller, this one bigger, and there's an ice wall on this map? Why do they there's 1 billion different maps. And they use the flat Earth azimuthal equidistant map for autopilot. That's why a compass is a flat Earth instrument. It only points to north. There is no south pole on a compass. Because here's magnetic north. You circumnavigate east to west. That's how a compass circumnavigates, just like the sun. And then south would just be 180 degrees away from north. So southward.
I'm smiling, but it ain't funny. I'm smiling, but it ain't funny.
If you made it this far, I appreciate you all. Subscribe, like, and comment your thoughts on today's video. Also, check out other selections on your screen now. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Quik!